My parents threatened to raise my rent unless I was my sister's free nanny. They didn't know I'd vanish overnight, leaving them drowning in the mess. I was 23, working full-time at a coffee shop and living in my parents' basement. Not ideal, but rent was cheap at $400 a month and I was saving up to move out. My older sister Jessica had just had twins, and suddenly my parents decided I needed to help out more. Mom cornered me in the kitchen one Tuesday morning before work. She said Jessica was overwhelmed with the babies and needed support. I told her that made sense and I'd visit when I could. But that's not what she meant. She wanted me to watch the twins every single day after my shift ended. 6 days a week, 5 p.m. until Jessica's husband got home from work around 9. For free. I laughed at first because I thought she was joking. My shift at the coffee shop ended at 4:30, which meant I'd have basically no free time ever. Mom wasn't laughing though. She said family helps family, and since I was living under their roof, this was my responsibility now. I told her I already paid rent and had my own life. That's when Dad walked in and dropped the bomb. Either I help with the twins, or my rent goes up to $800 a month starting next week. He said they needed to cover the costs of helping Jessica anyway, and if I wasn't contributing with my time, I'd contribute with money. I just stared at them. $800 for a basement room with no kitchen and a bathroom I had to share? That was more than a real apartment would cost. I asked if they were serious, and Dad said completely serious. Jessica needs help and you're the obvious choice. My sister apparently agreed to this whole plan. She even texted me that night saying she was so grateful I'd volunteered to help with her babies. Volunteered, like I had any choice in the matter. The first week was a nightmare. I'd finish my shift exhausted, smelling like coffee and espresso, then drive straight to Jessica's house. The twins were 4 months old and cried constantly. Jessica would basically throw them at me the second I walked in, then disappear upstairs to take a nap or a bath. Her husband Mark worked late, so I was stuck there alone with screaming babies I had no idea how to handle. By Friday, I was running on maybe 4 hours of sleep total. I had no time for my friends, no time to relax, couldn't even do laundry because I was always at Jessica's house. My boss at the coffee shop pulled me aside and said I looked terrible and seemed distracted during my shifts. I tried talking to my parents again that weekend, told them this arrangement wasn't fair and I was burning out. Mom just said, welcome to adulthood, sweetie. We all make sacrifices. Dad reminded me about the rent increase if I didn't hold up my end. That's when I realized they didn't actually care about me at all. I was just free labor to them, and if I wouldn't do it, they'd price me out of staying there. So I made a plan. I had been saving money in a separate account they didn't know about $3,200. Enough for first month, last month, and deposit on a cheap apartment across town. I called in sick to work on a Monday, told my parents I was going to Jessica's early to help out. Instead, I packed everything I owned into my car. Clothes, laptop, books, my grandmother's jewelry box, everything that mattered. I was out of that basement in 3 hours flat. Left my key on the kitchen counter with a note that said, found a place closer to work, moving out effective immediately. Then I turned off my phone and drove to my new apartment. I didn't tell them where I was going, didn't give them my new address, just vanished. My phone blew up for 2 days straight once I turned it back on. Mom called 47 times. Dad left angry voicemails about how irresponsible I was. Jessica sent me paragraphs about how I abandoned her in her time of need and she had to scramble to find childcare. Apparently she'd been telling Mark that I loved watching the twins and did it voluntarily. He had no idea my parents were forcing me or threatening to raise my rent. When the truth came out, Mark was furious at all of them. The best part? Mom had to retire early to watch the twins because Jessica couldn't afford a real nanny. Dad complained about Mom being home all day driving him crazy. And Jessica? She finally had to have an honest conversation with Mark about needing actual help instead of volunteering her sister as free labor. I blocked all their numbers after week 2 and haven't spoken to them since. Got promoted to shift supervisor at the coffee shop, made actual friends, started sleeping through the night again. My studio apartment is tiny, but it's mine, and nobody can threaten to raise my rent for not being their personal servant.